Hi, and welcome to the Flute Talk podcast, where we talk about all things flute, live here on Patreon. What is Patreon? Patreon is a place for fans like you to come and support creators like us. So why not join us over on Patreon and help us continue to make great content? The Flute Talk podcast is also brought to you by the Flute Center of New York. The Flute Center of New York has the world's largest selection of flutes. If you need to buy a flute or piccolo, the Flute Center of New York has you covered. With our code TFC at checkout, you can try up to 3 to 4 flutes for up to 10 days, have an extended 18-month warranty, and free shipping worldwide. So be sure to go to the website flutes4sale.com. So that's flute4sale.com. flutesforsale.com. Just be sure to use that code TFC for all those perks, and a little bit of that does go our way. Another sponsor as well, ourselves. We have a store. If you haven't noticed yet, we have a store over at store.theflutechannel.com. We have some shirts and posters and things like that over at Teespring. So you can definitely go there and get some merch, posters, whatever you like that we have, it will be there. You'll probably notice it under our videos. If you're interested, be sure to go to store.theflutechannel.com. That helps us out immensely. So yeah, on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Flute Talk podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Amelie.
How's it going, Amelie?
Good, how are you?
Good. So this is the podcast where we answer your questions at the end of the month. Hopefully everyone had a good February. And we released a couple videos. We released the movie music. That was pretty cool.
That was
really fun. Had a bit positive outcome, which was good. And then we're going to release another one later today too that's also in the film music type of thing. So if you're joining us live, be sure to ask us some questions in the comments and we'll start answering them as soon as they come rolling in.
Yeah. So maybe while we're reading those questions, I don't know. I've had a pretty intense week where I didn't practice as much as I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that happens with everyone, not practicing and stuff. But
I guess that, sometimes you get tired. And so this week I was thinking maybe I'll make a little schedule for myself so that I can get to my goals,
you
know?
Yeah, you use a schedule too sometimes. It's always good to block out like, oh, you know what, I'll just do what's realistic, So like if it's only 15 minutes today, I'll do 15 minutes and I know I check that off. I know I'll feel good and I'll try to maybe do another 15 minutes on top of that, like 30 minutes the next day or the day after. But make sure you write it down. Make sure you have
I don't do that all the time,
nice
but
rubric.
like if I feel like I'm losing my role, then I'm going to try that this week to try to be a bit more creative, have a bit more time for that.
That's always good. And then, but that was good though. But you did put in some time. We did put some time into making those music videos, which was really good. We'll be doing Spirited Away this time. That's going to be today. And then the other one was the Howl's Moving Castle. And then other music stuff too is going to come up soon. We're going to have a couple other music videos and stuff. And it's always fun to do those types of things. And it's fun to explore new genres. Like I know you've haven't really dived into this type of genre really of pop movie music.
Yeah, but it's beautiful and it's fun and people seem to like it. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
And I liked what you did with the...
Yeah, the visuals were cool too, for sure. Totally.
So fun.
Yeah. There we go.
So it's fun to be creative and try new things, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
Like, I'd like to start maybe composing a little bit for flute, But again, time. I just have to set some time to do those types of things. And
exactly. GBK wants to know how to play trills consistently on higher notes. Well, trills are hard in the high register because sometimes lots of fingers can move. Sometimes they don't. So you have to kind of coordinate with the harder ones.
Sometimes you can use
harmonics.
Harmonics, yes. And then
what are harmonics to the people who kind of don't know what that is? What's
okay,
the general
let's say
term
you
of that?
have an E and F sharp trill in the third octave.
Okay.
You can play an A and then trill a B, but you blow a E and an F sharp. So do you want me to demonstrate that right now?
This is the Flute Talk podcast. I gotta... Oh, also, it's our 50th episode, so that's kind of cool. 50th episode, so that's kind of neat. I forgot to mention that, although it is in the title.
So you see, you want to do E and F sharp. I'll go a bit further because my flute is louder than my voice. you play a A and a B, but you blow a E. This way you just have one finger to move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty, that works pretty well. For sure.
Yeah, it works with a couple of notes, and then for the other ones that require more movement, I would say practice slowly and make sure everything's moving at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
When you have fingers going up and fingers going down, which is rare in trills, but I don't think of one right now, but sometimes it happens that you have both at the same time. I would say put more energy, like more attention on the fingers going up than on the fingers going down.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's easier to bring fingers down than lift them up.
Totally.
It's more natural to grab, like little babies grab fingers, and like it's a reflex to grab things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Orla O'Malley wants to know, what age do people typically start flute? I'm 15 and I've been playing for a year and a half, and I'm working on my grade 5 exam. I've played classical accordion for 10 years now. Oh, that's cool. 10 years and you're only 15, so he started accordion at 5. That's pretty
so cool, and
that's
it's rare, that instrument. Hey, I don't know. Is there a typical age? Like here, a lot of people start around 12 when they get to grade 7. That's when usually most people start in grade 7 here in Quebec.
Yeah, some people start at like Arna here says it started around 9 or 10. Someone started at 8. Yeah.
I started at 11.
Yeah, I've seen people also start at 20 and 50. Like it's
I've seen people starting late. I've seen people starting at 4, on the recorder, and then 7 on the flute, the curved flute. That's like there's all types of of ways to get there, and ages.
Yeah, the average is, if you really do the average, it's really variant.
I guess a lot of teenagers because of bands
and bands and stuff. Yeah, and then a lot of people, like for us, we get a lot of people who are older as well. Like
we get a lot of people, adults.
Not as much, yeah.
We get adults that start from scratch,
yes,
and we also get adults that have played as teenagers, hadn't played for like decades, and are starting again. That's cool too.
That's cool too. Totally. Ziniev7 wants to know, hi, I would like to ask for some advice. I'm currently a high schooler playing in school. I'm going to graduate soon. Should I continue playing after I graduate? However, I still think I'm quite bad at it. Well, yeah, you should continue it as a hobby. There's lots of stuff out there, lots of music that you can learn and play. And kind of the fun thing, I guess, is after school's done, you can play whatever you want. So
yeah,
you can look for whatever you want to play.
You can play the stuff that you like. If you like playing with others, there's always bands and orchestras that are community bands and orchestras.
Yeah, there's a lot of community bands. Yeah, there's even a website, I forget what it's called, but it's like World Band or something organization, and they actually list all the bands that are community only in all of North America, and I think they do the world as well too. And so you can find in your local, if you have one in your local community, you can join. Usually it's a low fee or free.
Some people play in their churches, some people play in different settings, and if it brings you happiness, and it's a healthy thing to do. I've known psychologists and judges and all types of professionals that have played their whole life, and
doing that
brought them some type of, balance in their life.
And you'll only improve, like that way you actually kind of can work on the things that you don't necessarily work on when you're in band, because in band there is gaps in the way to play as a soloist, because you're playing as an ensemble, so you're doing other types of techniques that work well with ensemble. You kind of don't do the solo stuff too much, so it's good to kind of work on that, then start on that and work on the soloist type of things, and just small keys, ensembles.
If you play in band, you always have B flats at the key signature, and just that, learning pieces in different key signatures. Oh yeah,
it's a new thing.
It's a new thing, and it can be cool, and it's good for your brain to learn new things. And
exactly. Lena Flute wants to know, do you think it's easy to find a balance between practicing in real life when you're an adult, having jobs, kids, etc.? Well, you've got excellent experience in that.
Yeah. Well, it's not necessarily easy, but I guess it's a mindset that you have to go with the flow.
Right.
And accept that some days things don't go as planned.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that you should stop. It's just a different way of approaching it.
Sure.
And sometimes we have this belief that we need to do 2 hours a day just to keep in shape and blah, blah, blah. It's not totally true. Like, as
Right.
long as you play a certain amount, you
Yeah.
know, once you've mastered your instrument, it's not...
Yeah, you have to learn. Yeah, you're right. Like, you also, after you've gone to a certain point, whether it's a degree or lessons to a certain point or whatever, you definitely can rely on your skills. And, you know, we kind of get fooled sort of a little bit. Be like, you have to keep practicing the same as you did when you were practicing at the most. When in reality, you have gigs and you have life and stuff like that. Like, work, like, live off of your skill, live off of what you built, you know, a bit. Because, like you said, sometimes one day can be whole scrap because you have to go grocery shopping, or you have to go and pick up the kids, or you have to go to a hockey game for your kid or whatever. You know, that's the thing of life, you know, and that's even Ron
Maybe
Paul,
like, yeah.
even like Ron Paul said, like, to a lot of people, like, go get some sun, you know, because like, if
Oh,
you're
yeah. He would
continuously-
tell people, you're not tanned enough. You
Yeah.
practice too much. Go at the beach, you
right,
know.
enjoy
go
life a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like,
Go to the beach and have some sun.
yeah,
You're practicing too
Yeah.
much.
because music isn't life. Life is life, and music's only a part of it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to explore all
Yeah.
avenues of your life and experience things other than music. It's only going to benefit your music, and it's also going to benefit your mind,
Yeah.
body, and soul. Or
And
whatever
maybe,
you
you
wanna
know,
call
if you have
that.
less time, sometimes you can skip some parts of warming up or do a quicker warm up and go directly in your pieces. It's okay too, you know. You're playing, you know. It's about, I guess, when you have a job and kids and all
Right.
that stuff, you have to be a bit more
Right.
flexible
Right.
with your practicing. And
So yeah, to kind of go back to the core of that question, like, is it easy to find a balance? I think the balance is progressive. I think you find the balance in pieces, and then you put it all together. It's not like a next day you found balance, you know, like, I have everything organized, it's going to be balanced.
yeah, and
It's
like
not-
balance is a thing that you always work
Yeah.
towards, because
Right.
yeah, things happen and then you have to find another balance.
Oh, yeah.
Like, 1 week your kid gets a surgery and
Right.
then there's not going to be any practice
Yeah.
this week,
Right.
and another week you have more time
Yeah.
because they're going to their grandmother's for the
Yeah.
week or whatever, you know.
But if you are motivated and you still have those things to do, make your goals smaller.
Yeah.
Make your goals smaller. That week, you bring your sheet music with you when your kid's having this surgery. You sit there and you look at the music if you want, or listen to the music, or,
Yeah.
you know, find a balance. But you don't have to do as you did when you were at your max. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's...
And guilt doesn't bring us
No,
anywhere. Like,
guilt just doesn't. You're right.
Yeah.
You're so right. Yeah.
guilt is not a good place to...
It's
To
not a good
grow.
motivator. It's
No.
not a good motivator. Guilt is an awful motivator.
No, because it paralyzes you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you think, oh, I feel guilty, I don't like it, so now I'm going to work more and stuff. It
Totally.
usually doesn't work, and it
Uh-huh.
makes people... I feel like, let's say I give a lesson to someone and they say, oh, I didn't practice this week. If they feel
Yeah.
guilty, they don't get anything out of the
No.
lesson because they're just in that emotion. I'm like, it's okay, it's life. Sometimes we don't practice, but now we're
Totally.
together. Let's use that time that we have.
Yeah.
And during the time that you practice, if you feel guilty about the times that you were not practicing,
Yeah.
it's not going to be as efficient. So I would say
Totally.
just bring a positive vibe to your
Totally.
music. Also, if you see it as what's bringing more balance in your life and helps you to feel better,
Yeah.
then see it as that, you know,
Totally.
instead of a thing that you have to do.
Yeah. One final thing I would just add is, it's like, also don't practice the things you're comfortable with. Like, practice the things you actually have to work on, you know? Like,
Yeah, that's more
Yeah,
efficient.
you have so much skill if you're at that point, that just work on the stuff that you just you don't know yet. Like, you're uncomfortable with, or you have to work on to get better, because that just creates a great efficiency.
Yeah.
In your
If
whole
you want to
playing.
get better,
Yeah.
don't practice the stuff you're already good
Yeah,
at.
don't. Yeah, exactly.
Go for the tough things. That
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
That can help. Somebody said they found a band piece that has 7 flats in it. Ooh,
Oh.
that's tough. 7 flats is something else. Whoever
Yes and
composed
no,
like that.
because 7 flats in a way, it means everything's flat.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, so you're just
you
flattening everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to be in that mindset.
Instead of thinking of it, each one, you just
Yeah.
go, everything's flat.
Everything's flat. Yeah.
It's like if you have 6 flats, you just think one is not flat. That's easier than thinking 6 flats. You just focus
Oh.
on the one that's not flat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Trevor wants to know this. I don't know really the answer, but why do we learn how to play songs in B flat first, and that scale before any others?
That's only in band.
Yeah, in band.
If you learn
That's most
like
people.
privately,
you
that's
start
not
learning all
really
the scales. Yeah.
how you're gonna learn. But
Yeah.
it's because of transpository instruments
Oh, there you
like
go.
clarinet and saxophone. So B flat major
Yeah.
is like a good key for all these instruments.
There you go.
Because then clarinet is playing in C major while flute is playing in B flat major.
Right.
So it's all the transpository instruments that make it easier this way.
There you go. So that's a pretty good explanation. I never knew. I kind of knew that, but you said it way better than I would have.
That's nice.
That's cool. Arno wants to know, I'm playing Mozart as one of my pieces, and there's a high D held for 4 semi-breathes and not much time to breathe before. How can I hold it long for that long? Oh, I wonder which Mozart piece. Probably maybe Mozart Concerto or Mozart
Maybe
strings
it's
piece.
a
Maybe
you
it's
have
that.
to hold that D
You
for
gotta hold
quite
it.
a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Play it piano.
Play piano, reserve some air, so you can kind of reserve some air, I guess.
If you have time to breathe before, maybe empty your lungs before you breathe in. Let's say it's that,
Yeah.
okay? If you empty your lungs before you breathe in, it's like a little bit like a vacuum. Then the air comes in way more. Like you get more air in. And so you go and then you really fill up and then play piano. Play softer. You'll need less air. Make sure you're not losing too much air, that you're focusing your airstream in one spot on your embouchure plate, And that's what I could say about that. Sometimes also we think there's no spots to breathe, but sometimes even if you have, let's say, staccato 8 notes, you can go take tiny, tiny breaths in between. If you don't move your lips, you can do it. If you start moving your lips, opening your mouth, then you can't because it takes too much time. But if you just go without moving anything, sometimes you can take tiny, tiny breaths just before.
Yeah, hopefully that helps. Yeah, those are pretty much good things. I always think like emptying, and then like I always think about like hulking up. So you kind of feel like you're really getting the max amount of air, and then like you said, controlling the output, controlling the output in the hose, or putting the thumb over the spout, so you leave a little space, or
You're
it's not
so
around
right.
your lips, but like what I mean, like it's really
Because
around
sometimes
like
we put so much effort into breathing in, but I see students who breathe in pretty okay, but then they push all their air out at once, like in 5 seconds.
Yeah, where's my air or less? 2 seconds.
Just go, whew,
right.
instead of that. Yeah. You have to retain your air. It's also about like I feel the thoracic cage here, the rib, the rib cage.
Yeah, the rib cage. Yeah,
it has to hold and then come back slowly, not whew. No, you have to hold your posture and your muscles.
The ribs and the diaphragm all do that automatically for you. Really, it's a lot of control up here and just making sure that you kind of.
Oh, it's not that automatic.
No, it's not automatic,
like,
but I mean, like it holds it in place, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It holds it all in place.
Yeah.
I'm
just being mindful that you're not pushing all your air at once.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Hopefully that helps.
I think in the last video that we made about
daily practice.
No, about breathing, like air management or
air
whatever.
Management. Yeah,
there's one of the exercise
video.
that's about that, playing 4 bars, then breathing, 4 bars, breathing, and it teaches you how to manage air, both breathing in and out.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to jump over a question, but then we'll go back to it. Don't worry. But GPK wants to know, have you thought of rating people's playing again? Yes, we have. If you want us to rate your playing, send us links either under this video or in a comment of the video that we did before. If you haven't seen that video, you rate people's playing and give them tips and stuff like that.
I don't rate, but
Not
I
rate,
give
but you know what I mean?
tips.
Yeah, you give tips. Yeah, that's really what it is. So be sure to, if you want that, send us a link on your via YouTube, like a YouTube link, private link, whatever you would like, or email us that, and then we're gonna make one soon. But we need more videos to make a long enough video for everybody to benefit. Cool. I wanted to go back to Rem Dreamer. That's a great name, by the way. Congrats on the 50th podcast. Thanks. I've got a question. It's been a while since I've played for the last time, over a year. And all this time, my flute has been stored in its case, clean, of course. Should I send it to a professional to check it before playing it again? I think it would be safe to do it. That way, you're guaranteed to have a flute that's going to play for a while out of the box. Usually, like even if you leave the flute alone in the box, it's going to stay the way you left it when you last played it. As long as
There's no
you're
risk that like the oil kind of clumped or whatever.
no clumping, because clumping only happens when there's movement in the gears and stuff like that.
So you could play it while you're waiting for your appointment, let's say. There's no danger in playing it.
Yeah, exactly. As long as the case isn't by a window or where there's a crosswind or anything like that, that's when moisture comes into play and starts making funny business to your flute. I knew people who lived in high-rise buildings and they left their window open and another window open in the other room and their flute out, and also flute in the case too. And it built up rust. It built up so much corrosion and rust because the wind, you don't feel it, but there's a crosswind in a high-rise. High-rise, you can't feel it, but you put some dust, you'll see it flying everywhere. And that's moisture coming into your flute, into your house, and causing a lot of disruptions. And when they picked up their flute was rusted, like it would close up. So that's a real thing that can happen. So just make sure you're in a nice isolated environment, a nice not damp environment, but like no moisture coming from outside or anything like that.
No
like a controlled
wind.
environment, no wind, But yeah, take it there. It's always helpful. Where do we have some more questions? Hopefully they answered your question. And it's always good to bring your instrument for repair or overhaul or whatever like that. Jose Luis Rodriguez Balan. He says, hello from Colombia. I'm 34 and I would like to buy a flute and start to practice, but I can only afford a cheap one. Latin America is a different world. Or should I buy it or still wait? Well, there might be places in Colombia. There might be repair technicians that sell flutes,
that have
used flutes that there is a list. I don't know. There is a list of, like, again, I think I mentioned that last month, of Straubinger flutes. You can go there and check the list of all the repair technicians in every country, and I'm sure there's some in South America, and I'm sure there's probably one in Colombia that you can message them and find out if you can get a flute, if they have anything like them. Sometimes they have Yamahas that are cheap that they've overhauled. And
because in Colombia, there's also universities that have music and stuff.
Yeah.
So
and
you
El
might
Sistema too is there, I think. Or no, that's Venezuela.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You might have like
apologies.
A student who's selling his flute because
Right.
buying a new one,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Like sometimes you can get pretty good deals
Yeah.
like that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So look at the music schools there. See if
Yeah,
anyone's
sometimes they even
selling
have
their
like
D-flute. A
let's
poster
say
board or
a
whatever.
poster board where people put it
Community
there.
posts, sorry.
Yeah, whatever. Like
Yeah, that's so smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't correcting. I was just saying like we were doing
it's okay.
charades.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
yeah, I guess you can look there, maybe online too, if you have
Yeah.
like a Kijiji or type of ad that's
Yeah, Craigslist, Kijiji, if you have any of those types of
things.
equivalent, which is like a, online ad thing that's local.
Yeah. But like
Um,
technicians also can be a good place to
Yeah.
look because they probably put it in a good order before
Right.
they sell it. So that's also good.
Also, some music shops do payment services, so you can, if it's a $400 or $500 Yamaha flute, it's worth it to pay it $100 a month or whatever for 5 months, and then it's yours. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's easy to repair those ones, as opposed with a cheap one. You're not gonna get longevity through it too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if you
Also-
take good care of it.
Some stores offer you can rent.
Yeah.
And I know here they do that a lot. Like you can rent and then the first 3 months of renting can be
Right.
applied on buying it if you want to buy it. So this way you have 3 months to see if you like it, if you practice enough, and if it's worth buying it,
Right.
That can be a good
Yeah.
alternative to
Totally.
putting all the money up front
Right.
right away.
So hopefully that helps. But like if you can also just buy that cheap one, and if you do like it, you can save up for a new one, and the cheap flutes that we've advertised, like I said, we still have a couple of them and they work well. Even the plastic flute's super good, but it's a bit more expensive, but it is something a bit more waterproof.
Some of them
and
are pretty
resistant.
okay.
They're okay.
They
yeah.
play you can
little
play for a
bit.
couple of years with them.
Yeah.
And
Just take good care of them, but I mean, nothing's going to beat a good student flute that's built from the reputable companies, which are like
of course.
Yamaha, Pearl, Trevor James, Sonare, Powell, Haynes, Gemeinhardt, Artley. You can find those also on eBay too. I'm sure on eBay, any of those names, you can find, budget ones that are cheap, but also just ask the buyer question or ask the seller questions like, has it been overhauled? Has it been repaired recently?
Yeah.
When was it repaired? And what was repaired? All those things. Ask those questions when you're doing eBay.
Because I remember someone brought us a old Gemeinhardt once, and
Yes.
you couldn't do anything about it. It was too
it was
too old and too out of shape.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't repairable
You
anymore.
needed-
So
you
you
needed
still
it.
have
Yeah,
to be careful.
You needed big tools, to do a complete, and like it would just cost more than the flute itself.
Yeah.
So it's really about a love of that flute.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's
Because like in that case, you would be better with a cheap Amazon flute than that used Gemeinhardt. In that case, I mean, like it's a case by case thing.
Exactly. Creative Cloud says hello. I really love this channel. It's helped me improve my tone and my flute so much. Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Thanks.
we try to do a good job. What is okay? Playthrough of Tiny Bronco Takes Off would be a super cool. I don't know that piece. Do you know that piece?
No.
No, we'll have to look it up. Can you please rate us? Can you please rate or give your thoughts on Chinese flute playing? Yeah. Well, we don't have a Chinese flute. Well, we have a broken Chinese flute, but we might get a Qi. I forget what it's called, or a Qian. I don't remember what they're called, those flutes, but there are two makers that I am looking into to get them.
My Chinese flute is broken?
Oh, there's a split in it. Oh, I don't know where it is. It's over there. There's a split in it. And it's not really a Chinese flute. It's
no, but I have one that a student gave me when she went to visit her family in China once.
Oh, yeah, that thing. Yeah, we still have that one.
It's in a case.
But the hole's not correct. I don't know what type of flute it is because I can't play in it. It's like super narrow.
I'll try it.
But we are going to get it might be a different style of Chinese flute that we just have to know the name and then we can figure it out. But we want to get other Chinese flute that looks different than that, but with the membrane, like the thing with the
a bit
membrane.
like an A. It has the little.
Yeah, the little.
So the sound.
Yeah. So we are going to go into that. We are getting our bamboo flutes soon. So we're going to do several series about you learning bamboo flute, you learning Chinese flutes, you learning tin whistle and all the whistles as well. So those are going to be series that we are going to do hopefully this year that you're going to, dive into that and see how they sound. I'm sure they're going to sound cool. It's world music, but it's good. It's cool stuff. But yeah, we'll have to check that out. What else do we got here? A lot of good tips from everybody. Yeah, check the universities, music shops. Yeah, exactly, to buy a flute, to find flutes or used. What else do we got here? Do you have any private lessons for homeschoolers? Well, yeah, we have our book. Our book is a private lessons on like a package of 15 lessons. That's on musogy.com, musogy.com. You can find that in the description.
Yeah, I also give private lessons on Skype or Zoom or whatever. Yeah. That's more private lessons.
But I think that's what they mean, like as a package to kind of for homeschoolers. They usually teach in packages of stuff,
Oh, okay.
So that
I misunderstood the question.
Yeah,
I guess.
So it's like our
so
book
our method would be perfect for that.
Yeah, to start them off, and what to look out for, because you explain in the videos as well, basically the pedagogy of it. So
Oh yeah,
we know people who take the book and actually use it as their courses as well. Like in Texas, those people bought the books and stuff.
Some flute teachers said they used it with their beginner students.
Yeah.
So that was so cool. I was so happy about that. Yeah, and I think it's a pretty. I'm very proud of that book. So like, if you get it and you learn with it, I think you're gonna be able to learn pretty well. If you don't know anything, there's pretty much everything you need to know in it to begin, to start, not to get to a professional level, but like to begin.
No, but it's a good
and
starting
then
off
if
point.
you already know a lot of stuff because you played another instrument or you are coming back to the flute, then you can go a bit faster in the lessons, but still it's good to start and do a little bit of revision.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for the live chat. I recently started as an adult. This is from Patty Hoffman, and got a really cheap flute online. I want to eventually upgrade to a better one. Any suggestions on price range for a good one? So we get this question every single month, which is great because it's a good question to talk about because sometimes it changes. But like a good flute, can be between $1,000 and $10,000 if you want to be blunt. But you can find very good flutes for under $4,000. That's going to be your forever flute. You can also find more expensive ones, which will have a bit more different features or made with different material and stuff like that.
You can go up to 40,000.
Yeah, you can go up to 40 if you really want to get.
If money is no issue for you.
If you want to get a Lamborghini of the flutes, you can do that. You know. But the Flute Center of New York, that's where when you get to $1,000, that's when you start looking at the Flute Center of New York with them, because they have all the brands. They're all flutists there too. So you use our code TFC on their website at flutecenter.com, or you can call them and email them, mention our code, and you will get to have a bigger trial period of 10 days. You can try 3 to 4 flutes. You also get an extended warranty as well. So those are all great things there, because they're tried, tested, and true there. They've been there forever.
Yeah.
They're super cool. They're very knowledgeable, and it works worldwide. So you can just call them or email them, mention our code. They're going to set you up with whatever you need. And so all the name brands, Yamaha, Trevor James, Muramatsu, Sankoi, every brand under the sun is there.
Then you can see what your budget is and have maybe 4 different models sent to you, and you try them. You see what sounds best for you.
Yeah, because if you're going from a cheap flute, I would say personally, if you're going from a cheap flute, you should go to the beginning of professional flutes, to be honest.
Yeah, like a good intermediate
intermediate
flute,
professional. I would still call intermediate professional.
I have a student who is so happy. She had a beginner flute that was given to her. Then she went to have it repaired. The repair person was like, I'm sorry, but it's going to cost you so much, and it's still not going to be a great flute. So she paid a little bit more, got a good intermediate flute, but now it's her flute for life, and she loves it, and she takes good care of it, brings it in every year. She's going to have it forever,
Right. So, it all depends. And you don't know unless you try them. So, go and try flutes out wherever you can. If you can with the Flute Center of New York, that would be great, because that helps us out a lot. And, just try them, see. But traditionally right now, prices are very much like that, I feel. Like you're going to get a huge increase in quality from a cheap flute, from $100, $200 flute to $1,000 flute, just insurmountably different. Like it's so much more. You can also get like a student flute, which is not the cheap flute, which is the step up from a cheap flute, a student flute. And student flutes, they last long too. Like there's some Yamahas that I know some people play in orchestra with 200 series Yamahas, which are
because they're repairable.
Because they're repairable and they sound good, and you can swap the head joints to do whatever you want. And they say you save so much.
If you take good care of them, you can have them for a long time.
Yeah, 200, 300 series Yamahas are traditionally like very good workhorses. They're very they work pretty well. What else do we got here? Hopefully that answers your question, Patty. I hope you find a new flute.
Also, thanks for everyone who used our code TFC, because it helps us out. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I found a good intermediate suite. Pastoral de Gundar de Fumier. No, we don't know that. Susan wants to recommend a good intermediate.
Godard?
No, Gunnar. Oh,
I don't know Gunnar.
I don't know Gunnar either. Make sure you leave that link to a video or to the thing in the comment section in the video, and we'll look at it. Any recommendations you guys have? I know some people are recommending new video game music like Final Fantasy and all that stuff. Send us in the links in the description of this video some of those tunes, and we'll look at them, because we're really diving a little bit deep into those ones, and that's it's fun. We're really enjoying it, and everyone seems to be enjoying it, so that's always a good thing. I don't see any other questions for now, but what we can do is just do a little bit of housekeeping with, like our book, musigy.com. That's where our books are, and our courses, and also like some sheet music. We're going to add some new sheet music hopefully in the year.
Yeah, and the second book.
That's coming.
We're going to finish soon, I hope.
No, yeah, totally. Well, all good things have to take time. So we've been taking our time, but it's turning out to be a very good product, and it's going to be the intermediate version of the books that exist already on this website.
I put a lot of stuff in there.
Sure. So it's going to be jammed full. It's almost twice as much material as the beginner series.
Yeah,
so,
it's a bit crazy.
Not really.
I went all in, to...
Yeah, to give... Yeah,
give a lot to develop
Yeah.
the next level.
Yeah, the
you
next
know?
level for your playing.
Yeah.
And then we also have our Teespring store, which is all those little little slides that you see underneath our videos sometimes of products. Where we have our Mozart Concerto
And this shirt.
and the Lung shirts, and also we have the Mozart Concerto leggings and stuff like that for exercising.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of people buy those. And
One of my students this week, she was wearing them because
Right.
she ordered them, and she showed me that she can do the
hula
hula hoop
yeah,
and play
yeah,
with
yeah.
the leggings.
Right.
And I thought it's so cool. Maybe we should do
A call to action. Well, eventually we
Yes.
won't announce a call to action right now
That
because
would
I
be
can't manage
cool.
that yet. But we can make a call to
That
action
would
soon.
be a
People
funny
hula hooping and
little
flute
thing
playing.
to
Yeah.
make with our community.
Exactly. And then we also have what else do we have? We have the books. We have the store. We have the Flute Center of New York. If you want to get flutes, just use our code TFC at flutecenter.com. Use that code or call them and mention our code TFC. You definitely you'll get I think an extended warranty. Instead of 8 months, you get 12, or instead of 12, it's 18, something like that. And then you get to try 3 to 4 flutes, and for up to 10 days. And they're the largest selection of flutes in the world, so they know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. They're all flutists there, and you can reach out to them anytime, and that definitely helps us out a lot as well. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
And also our
to
Patreon
Odyssey
too.
of Ascension.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, on the
Thank
50
you
show. Thanks
so
for the
much.
super chat. That's awesome. You can also do super chat if you're doing it live with us and you really want to support us. Join us live at the end of every month, last Sunday of every month, and there you can help us out, or you can go on our Patreon. We've had a couple new patrons, and if you want to tip us every month, as little as $2, you can tip us that, or tip us more every month, and that goes to us right away as well. And our community there's really great. People message us and stuff privately there, and we get to talk to them through private chat. And if they have any questions or if they have requests, that's really a place where you can get to us one-on-one. And then also lessons too. If you want to have online lessons, you can email us at info@theflutechannel.com, and you can do online lessons via Skype or via Zoom or whatever your platform is. And we do offer some packages, 4 lessons or 8 lessons packages. Fortunately, we don't do one-offs too much, but email us.
Some people just get one.
Yeah, some people do.
And then
but
I
most of the
see
time
them
it's
a few months later.
Yeah, that's true.
They can call back or write back.
Right back, yeah.
And then
yeah. But
it's different
yeah,
for everyone.
And everyone's who's been using it have been liking the experience. It's what we can do right now because of the circumstances. But
Yeah, but we were doing it even before that.
It's true.
And it works well.
You're right.
Yeah.
So
Also allows us to have students everywhere.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So yeah, will you ever? Or Orla O'Malley wants to know: will you ever collaborate with TwoSet? Well, if they ever want to, they have to message us. We tried to reach out several times, and to alas, maybe they're busy. They didn't respond.
Yeah.
But if you guys want to push that, go on their channel and comment on their videos and say, work with us.
We're
Usually they'll come
lovely
to
and
us.
we like everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So,
So,
and we like their
what-
singing. They do
Yeah.
their stuff very well. And yeah. So go out there and spam them like crazy about us. It only helps us out too. So yeah, Rob Steven wants to know, hey Rob, can you suggest a relatively inexpensive sterling silver flute? Sterling silver, as opposed to Britannia silver? I don't know. Like a regular solid silver flute. We were just kind of saying like those flutes around $1,000 start being silver in the body.
It depends.
It depends, because sometimes the body can be all silver, or just the body and
Sometimes
not
it's
the head
just-
joint, and then
Usually
maybe just
it's
the head joint.
Just the head joint first.
And then sometimes the keys are not
Yeah.
silver and just the body is silver, or vice versa. People can do different combinations, but those are the general things. Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Last time
Yeah.
I went to try some Yamahas. There was a Yamaha festival at a store in Montreal.
Yeah.
Like they were doing a big sale.
Right.
And like even for 3,000, it was still not solid silver, but it sounded amazing. Like they sounded very good.
Yeah, there's lots of good flutes out there that
Yeah.
can sound. There's even some that are still copper
think-
coated, like copper silver or
I
whatever,
think
nickel
the
silver.
head
sorry.
joint was silver and the keys, but not the body.
Not the body, right?
The body was
Yeah.
an alloy of some
Yeah.
sort. It sounded amazing.
Right.
It sounded very good. I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like it
There's
depends
so
on the
many
brand.
flutes out there, and
for,
yeah.
the metal and the price.
Right, because I know like Altus, they have like a thing called Britannia silver, which is a different grade of silver, and then but it's all by fractions of a percent, that makes it a specific type of silver. So if it's really your thing to find sterling silver, just a lot of flute makers have that. Maybe you're having a hard time finding it.
If you go on the website of the Flute Center of New York, you can probably find.
Or also like the brand of it too. If you go on the brand, like the actual brand website, they have a deeper.
Or you call them.
Call them and ask.
They know.
They know.
They're working in flutes.
Yeah, they'll answer your question in 10 seconds. Yeah, you can call them. They're in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, so you can call them during their work hours.
Or you email them. They'll be able to tell you what's their cheapest
sterling silver
flute.
Yeah, and they'll be like this, and this, you know, and that's that. So we don't have their
more
inventory,
efficient than us.
Yeah, we don't have their inventory. But it's still a good question.
It is.
Like,
it's just they're going to be better than us at answering that.
Right. Yeah, because he says he has an Armstrong. He used to have an Armstrong silver flute, and that was really good. And now he has a Gemeinherr nickel plated. Yeah, so it's obviously a different type of flute between sterling silver or silver and nickel plated, but it could sound, it's all up to your own preference. So give them a shout if you're in Europe, just to find out what time zone they're in, or email them. They'll email the sales department. I think it's like sales@theflutecenter.com or something, but go on flutecenter.com and you'll see all their contact information, and they'll get back to you within a couple days. They want your sales, so they want to give you a service too. They do a very good service, I find. So you can definitely ask them. Let's do it again. Digital or paper sheet music? Oh, well, we do paper sheet music still a lot, but we do our own. We print from a screen, so we don't have like a big enough iPad for that to kind of do those things, and like digitizing all of our stuff maybe one day, but like it's still. I
still like to write on my music, but I guess you can write.
Yeah, with a pen.
I've worked with musicians who did that.
But like, what happens when the battery dies? Like, like what if you're forgetful, like I am? Like I didn't charge it, so it's at 25% on the gig, and I'm like, oh, great. Yeah. What am I gonna do? It's good to have a backup, I guess. Backup of paper.
Yeah,
but
I still like paper.
Yeah, how does everybody? Does everybody still use paper? Tell us in the chat if you use paper or digital. Do you use a like an iPad or a tablet or whatever? What else? I saw a really good question here as well. Bianca wants to know. Hi, excuse me. I started self-taught playing the flute as an adult. I have a problem in getting the bottom F, and I don't want it to be linked to another note, for example E. Any suggestions to get a clear note? E and F. So like
if it's the F, it might be your flute. If it's only the F, because that key is linked to a lot of other keys, and it gets problematic first. Usually it's the first key to get out of whack. So maybe go and get your flute checked. If it's only the F, it's weird.
Yeah.
If you set all notes in the low register,
if it's just one,
I'd say go and watch our video we have a couple of videos about playing in the low register.
Right.
But if it's only your F, maybe go and get your flute checked.
Yeah. That could be pretty helpful. And maybe it's a very little fix, because usually. Sometimes there's adjustment screws in that area. Don't touch the adjustment screws. Go and let them do it.
You press that key, and then the key next to it is supposed to go down, but it doesn't go down enough. There's a leak, and then your F's not getting out.
Exactly. And you don't want to press too hard, because pressing hard just makes all the mechanism gets worse over time. And usually a repair technician can usually fix that very fast. Yeah. So, and very cheaply, if that's the issue.
Or maybe it's just one pad that needs to be replaced, or whatever.
Exactly.
But just one note like that, if it's not the whole register, it sounds like it's the flute to me.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we'll do one or two more questions. So if you got a dying question right now, write it in the chat now, and we'll try to get to them. GBK Games, he says, to be honest, whenever I want to play a piece or a piece once or twice, I download it to my tablet, but when I get into the piece, I print it. Well, that would be an interesting way to do it, for sure. Yeah, that's a good practice.
Yeah, you sight read it on the... I like it. It's worth printing. Totally. That's an ecological way.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and it's all about... it's very ecological. That's a good point. Orla, again, with a great question, wants to know, what is the most interesting event you have performed at?
Interesting.
for you? What's
I don't know. Oh, once, okay. When I was a student, I was hired for a gig. At the university, you could just leave your name at this place, and if you had a little group, and then people would call and ask for a group of musicians for an event. I played in weddings and all types of things. And one day, we got a gig for flute and violin, and we went to that house, super nice house in Montreal. And then those people, they hired us to play while they were watching the Oscars. They were all dressed up.
It was an Oscar party
in their house.
You had an Oscar party. Oh my gosh.
And we were standing there next to the TV.
Wow.
And they were watching it without the sound, I guess.
Wow.
And then we would play. And
awkward.
Then it's a little bit mixed up in my head because it was kind of weird. I was kind of scared at first when I rang. Like two girls
came in dressed up in
No, but we were just like two girls ringing at a door of a house that we didn't know. Yeah. I don't know. Like it was strange. And then they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna play while it's a party, Oscar party." That was funny. Like, wow. I guess it's probably the funniest.
Yeah, that's something.
Like the most. Yeah, I've played like different places, but that was one of a kind, I would say.
That's hilarious. What do we got here? Let's try to get through all of these. Oh, Benjamin, he has a good question.
You didn't answer the question.
I can't think of anything. That's why I jumped right to it. So if I ever do, ask again in the future podcast, and I might have an answer. Benjamin wants to know, I'm participating in my first masterclass as a performer. Any advice?
I don't know. I see it as a learning experience because masterclass is kind of an in-between thing between performing in front of others and being there to learn.
Yeah, and a lesson. Yeah.
There's an extra stress that's imposed on the person because of the people watching. But like, remember that whatever is being taught to you is also helping the other people to learn. And really see it as a learning experience, leaving the ego out the door, I would say. So that you're really just there open to learn and you don't get, too nervous about it.
Yeah.
It's really about learning. It's not a concert.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It's a place where you kind of just absorb what they're saying. Don't take everything to heart. Just take it as it's another person's opinion and then reflect on that after. Don't think about it during. You're just wasting precious energy because they want you to kind of replay a lot and you want to have to replay and all those things and be a little bit conscious. Don't play unconsciously, of course, but reserve a lot of that time,
do what they say while you're there, but after, decide what you want to keep and what you don't need to keep from that experience.
If you can record it, please record it, whether it's even just sound or sound and video, either, do that because that's also, it's just another journal and you can retranscribe what you learned, and then you retranscribe it the first time you do it. And then a week later, I would say, look at it again. And then you might even find new notes to write that you missed in the first time you wrote notes, because it's a masterclass is really a point in time that you should try to document and hold in place because it's high stressful, it's fun, it's all these types of elements mixed together. It's learning, it's all these things mixed into one. You have an audience, you have a person who's not your teacher teaching you. It's all these things that are super important that you don't get often. You don't get that in a practice room. So try to record it. That's what I always say because it's a good time capsule.
I never recorded them.
I think it's a very
back
good
then I
learning
didn't
experience.
have that much of a good tool to do it.
Right. I had like a mini disc player, like a little mini disc player with a microphone, and that was it. I didn't have
Usually
a
what I
camcorder
did
or
is
anything like
just
that.
after I would write down things so I wouldn't forget because within 24 hours you've forgotten a lot. So I would just write down the key things that I would keep from it. I think I kind of learned even more from watching other people in masterclass because then I was more relaxed.
That's the other side of the masterclass,
just writing notes and then...
That's another thing too. Like if you're not the performer there or you perform after or before, whatever, you're the audience, write notes. Don't record other people because maybe they don't want you to record them, blah, blah, blah. But write notes like you were saying. That's super important too. But I never found it. I eventually found out very quickly that when I started writing notes right after and not recording, I missed things. I knew I missed things. So somebody else wrote in their book that thing I missed. So I'm like, oh crap, I have to ask other people for their notes to, so I just went,
stressed like that.
Recorded.
I would just write a couple of
That's
things.
cool.
And then I would make little index cards. I was a bit intense. I would make little index cards with the name of the flutist and the name of the piece and then what the person said. So then when I would learn it later, I would be like, oh, Emmanuel Payud said this about this piece. Or Alain Marion said that. And like, I thought it was a cool little, but like, you get what you get.
Yeah.
You can't like be too attached. So I have to get everything. You get what you get.
No, but I mean, you get what you get.
Fine.
But I mean, it's good to have it. If we have the technology, it's good to use it. You know,
Yeah,
it's a tool.
yeah.
It's a tool. Like it's having a hammer. I want to have a hammer. I'm going to use the hammer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like.
But do you really have time to rewatch the whole thing after or re-listen?
Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes I go double speed or whatever, and I just go to the points of because I have mental notes of how far in between each places, and if I have a visual aid like the actual WAV file, I know when I'm not playing and am playing. I go and click to there, and I go to that point and I listen to it. Bit of advanced stuff, but it's still very helpful. Use our tools. Get used to using your tools, your digital tools. It's a very
it's
important
just that
thing.
if I like sometimes I would have a whole day of masterclass. I don't think I would have re-listened to a whole day of masterclass.
No, just my masterclass. Only my section. I wouldn't listen to everybody else's.
That's what I understood.
Oh, okay. No. I meant just your own section, your
but
part.
like if you do it, it's fine. But I just mean like it depends if it's really worth it. Like if you're really gonna put all that time.
Exactly. Gwen wants to know, do you recommend buying a head joint then a whole flute? Well, if you have a whole flute already, head joints could be fun because you can replace them with wooden head joints. You can replace them with different gold head joint. You can replace it with different things with your body of your flute.
Just cut of a
different
head.
cuts.
I replaced mine. I have a different head joint.
Yeah. And that's about it. So, you know, that can be very helpful. And lastly, I think somebody just said something. Do you ever feel, Maria Davis, hi Maria, do you ever feel conscious that someone is listening to you practice so it makes you perform instead of practice?
Maybe when I was in university sometimes.
Yeah, same, yeah.
You have all these practice
mode,
rooms. But
privately now, no. I just play like I want to play.
Yeah, when we play in our house, it doesn't do that. Maybe when you play in cubicles in university or college or whatever.
You have that mindset
festivals.
that turns over. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's good to try to be a bit like a child who's playing with his toys. Children, while they're playing, are not, even if you watch them, they're not like, oh, my mom's watching me. I wonder if she's judging how I'm playing. Maybe I shouldn't hold my little truck this way and I should hold it that way. Maybe the voice for my puppet should be another voice. Like they just play. And I think it's good to go back to that. We all experienced it as children, and we need to go back to that when we have this type of nervousness about other people's judgment of us.
Totally.
Anyways, we don't control it.
No, exactly.
People think what they think. You can't control that.
And so last question, and then that'll be it for this month. But that's really awesome. And again, we do this at the last Sunday of every month. So we'll be doing this the last Sunday of March next month for our 51st episode, which is really awesome. Noah Lax wants to know, sometimes when I play, it sounds awful. But when I just keep it aside and play again after 10 minutes, I say probably in a break, the same way, it sounds amazing. Is this common? Yeah. It happens everyone.
Maybe you just warmed up.
Maybe some parts of your brain did the right connection so you can do a good enough recall next time. Maybe you're starting to listen to the things that are more important now, so you are more enjoying it more. You know,
when I was a student, sometimes if I didn't practice for a couple of days and then would take my flute, the first 30 minutes was amazing. My flute was way better. My sound was way better. But then after that, it would go down and then it would go now I don't experience as many ups and downs as when I was a student. But I used to feel stuff like that. So
I would argue you kind of acclimated yourself to knowing what sounds you're achieving, so you have less chances of achieving the sounds you don't want. Like our brain just makes those connections to have good references.
Yeah, I know also how to get.
How to get them, and you know how to.
Physically, what I have to do to get a good sound, my body gets in place fast because I've
your
done
brain
it
has
so
made
much.
all those connections. That you can just recall and use those tools.
Yeah,
so
but sometimes when you don't play for a while, I guess there's some connections that are broken that might not have been good connections, and then sometimes it's good to have a break so that your brain can clean the bad connections and just you rewire, know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for everyone. That's it for this month's podcast. We're going to be releasing a new video today. It'll be about with Spirited Away, so that's going to be coming out later today. So be sure to watch out for that and go and watch it a couple times, a couple dozen times if you want. That'd be amazing. Drop it a like, drop it a comment too. We love your comments. We read every single one of them, and we try to respond to most of them as well too. Ask a question in that video, or ask a question in this video if you're listening to this post live and you have a question that you're dying to ask us over on the live stream. Leave that comment down in the video, or go to our Anchor app. If you go to anchor.fm/flute, you can go and leave us a voicemail. And sometimes we play voicemails here live, and we got one a while ago, but we would love to have some more. So download the Anchor app on iOS or Android, and find us on anchor.fm/flute, and you can leave us a voicemail, and that's really fun. So yeah, thanks everyone so much for a great podcast, and thanks for the super chat and all these marvelous questions.
Thank you. Have a nice month.
Yeah, have a nice month. Bye everybody.